The European Union has agreed to bring to an end the arms embargo on the Syrian opposition and to maintain other sanctions on Syria, all the other existing sanctions on the Syrian regime. This is the outcome that the United Kingdom wanted. It has been difficult for many nations, of course. That is why we've had such long discussions today over the last 12 or 13 hours or so. But I think it is the right decision. We have agreed as member states to make clear commitments about the restrictions on any arms that we would supply on common rules, on the basis of common rules. And I think the whole of the European Union is very strongly committed to a political settlement in Syria. So yes, there are, of course, on such a difficult foreign policy issue, there are disagreements. And yes, we...
Tuesday the 30th of September 2014. My name's Paul.
My name's Andy.
And this is our Unpenned Show. The Twilight Zone. We're moving into another step down.
We are.
Imagine every roller coaster you've been on. Every single one. They all have the same design. And I suspect it's on purpose. Because usually the biggest fall is either at the beginning, mostly, or very much at the end.
Yep.
But how roller coasters work is there's always one big fall. Always one. Like I say, it's usually at the beginning. And that roller coaster does its hardest work getting all the carriages to the top of the curve. And every single roller coaster does this. It hangs on the curve. And it takes a little move forward and stops. And everybody screams. And it takes another lurch forward. And everybody screams. And then the third time, it lets them go. And down it goes. And then the journey has begun. The twists and turns, the ride of terror that you can't stop because it's going too fast to stop. It will only stop when it hits the buffers of the station that it started at. Here we are.
Here we are.
The second drop has been felt.
And if you're brave enough, you'll let go, won't you? You'll have your hands in the air as you're doing it.
Absolutely. Get your arms
Surrender
up.
it.
Get your arms up, boys.
Yeah.
I think the second drop is here. I think 2014 will be seen as the second click. Because they're back with the abolition of the Human Rights Act 1998.
Yep.
And now, people like you and I can be categorised as homegrown terrorists. By simply disagreeing with government.
Yeah. Changing the word activist into terrorist, as they've done with rebel into terrorist.
We started off with William Hague from May last year, where he said that the European Union has backed Britain's decision to supply the Syrian rebels with the things they need.
Yeah, and I just made a few notes.
Which they can magically use, by the way. We just give them, and they magically can use all these weapons.
Common rules of supply. And it took some 12 to 13 hours to convince the EU to go with it. I don't think it was 12 or 13 hours of convincing. It might have been a few hours of drinking champagne and things like that.
The world runs on war.
It does.
Never-ending war. The Human Rights Act that has been written and given to us as a makeshift constitution of sorts. But because that's all it is. But it does allow us, and it did make some solicitors, barristers and lawyers, and it still is making some solicitors and barristers an awful lot of money defending people like Al-Qaeda, which is what's been used here to actually question its validity and change the contents and remove most of them. Why would a government of the people, by the people, for the people want to remove the rights of the people?
Why would they?
Because they want to break them, that's why.
They do. Yep.
They want to break them. Because everybody's looking for the papers, please, guys, wearing the khaki or the brown shirt uniforms. We're already here. We've been here for some time. We have, living in our communities, looking just like us, a whole set of a spying regime. Everybody is spying on everybody else. And I mean, everybody is doing it. We bloody love rules. And we love applying them to other people.
We do, yes.
We absolutely love it. The abolition of the tax disc is tomorrow. No more tax discs. The government is going to become more efficient. And is tax going down? Is road tax going down? No, it's not. No, it's definitely not. No. We can be proud of ourselves that we've, through our ignorance and indifference to actually understanding anything about how the country really works, we're now paying the controlling cartel, the cabal that's always run the place, the banking magnates, £1 billion a week in interest.
Yep.
£1 billion a week. And I don't think anybody I've really met along the way truly knows how this money system works. Now, I spent a long time today talking to a lady who was in my company this afternoon who knows very little about this stuff. So I didn't try and educate her, but I did answer some of the questions that she was interested in asking. And she reads books, and she's interested in architecture and history. And we had a fun afternoon. But I'm not sure she believed anything that I told her. Because it wasn't in her books that she'd read.
Well, what do you know?
She wasn't in her books that she'd read.
Yeah.
The abolition of the Human Rights Act. So what are they going to replace it with? Has it ever been there to defend me and you?
I don't think so.
I don't think it has it?
Really.
We now live in a country that can enter, without warrant, your house. Under the Terrorism Act.
Under the Terrorism Act, yeah.
42 excuses they can find to come into your house.
Yep.
And it doesn't matter whether you're here or not. That's not important at all.
Nope.
They can enter your house without asking, any time, day or night.
And it's all advanced from the IRA, hasn't it? Year on year on year. We get to Tony Blair, and this is just building on what Tony Blair brought in.
Some of the books that I read don't take this conspiracy far enough. Some of the authors that are writing these books, and I'm thinking of 2 or 3 that I've read in particular, they cannot be oblivious to this is an agenda that we're following here. And they continually say that the government is full of nincompoop, incompetence, greedy, self-serving, pigs at the trough type idiots. And it's hard to argue that that isn't what we're presented with. It is very hard to argue, isn't it? But this shows, to me, a complete cluelessness about money. Because money, and the love of the money, has been the root of all evil since time is recording, the very fact that money existed. But money has no effect on those that print it, because they have all they need. They can print all they need. Whether you and I know about it is of no consequence.
No.
They can have and print all they need. So once you have the ability to print all you need, what else are you going to be able to do? Well, you've got to pay the right people very well to enact what you want next. Because what you want next is global control of everything. Written about 1798 is the book I'm reading now. And it's called A Conspiracy. Proof of Conspiracy, it says. 1798 it's written. I'm going to slowly read through it because it's written in old language. But nothing's changed. The whole understanding of how the system works and how wrong we are to think that the Freemasons are still to blame, or even to credit with all this. This is not the case at all. This is how we're going back to the 1850s. You know, when this was the case. They've moved on since then. I mean, these people have yes, they didn't infiltrate the Freemasons. Yes, they did. The French loved it the most, and yes, it does have origins in Germany and England. And yes, Germany and England still work together to achieve this control system. Mm-hmm. You see, on all levels, without a war, we would be able to take a breath, enjoy the silence, and start asking the right question. What do we need these people for? Mm-hmm. What do we need all these people for? You see, we live in a world where the people in the middle are the filling for the sandwich, because they do all the work and pay all the taxes. Mm-hmm. Then we have a parasitic class above that make all the rules and have no intention of ever doing any work.
No.
Now, we passed the tipping point some 12, 13 years ago of more people work for the government than don't. Mm-hmm. So the writing is on the wall of how this is going to end. Mm. But those that work for the government have no chance of existing in the real world. You see, in the real world, money doesn't come as limitless expenses. In the real world, you have to account for what it is that you're doing, and you have to provide value for money, what it is that you've been asked to do.
Yep.
So these things are of no consequence to people who work for the government at all, because they're not accountable, cannot be sacked, and they do not have any idea of other people's money, apart from it never ends. It just keeps coming. Now, every department, as small or as big as it may be, has always got to justify its existence.
Yep.
In other words, it's got to try and exert more influence on its area of interest. Mm-hmm. We can simplify that by saying they need to make some more rules, and then hopefully get the budget for the staff to enforce them. Mm-hmm. Because even in a corporation system, not just the council, but others as well, each box, each department, each section wants to control more than it always controls. Its desire is to grow. Governments always want to grow, and our complete indifference to the money system and the fact that we sit back and listen to these economists and MPs telling us what they're going to do for us, it can't possibly be true what they say to us. Bailing out the banks. All right, why did we why did we bail a failed business? Mm-hmm. Well, apparently too big to fail.
Too big, yeah.
Apparently. Right, so that means that there is now the threat of failure has been removed.
Yeah.
So there is no consequence to what the banks did.
Nope.
What the banks did was lend money to anybody who appeared, and I'm saying appeared, to be able to pay it back. They didn't care if you didn't, really.
No.
Because the banks can't lose on a mortgage-type deal, really, as long as houses keep going up in value. Mm-hmm. Well, that's not how it worked out. But then again, there's reckless lending and there's reckless borrowing. And I'm sure there was a whole heap of people who were borrowing money for houses that they couldn't afford.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But we've done that sketch before. We've talked about these things before. But there was no pain for the banks.
No.
And the two biggest culprits were the Royal Bank of Scotland and was it HBOS?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Was it HBOS?
Mm-hmm.
They were the two big ones, weren't they?
Yeah. Just Lloyds and HBOS had merged, hadn't they?
No, they were made to merge, weren't they?
Yeah.
Not at the time.
Oh, no, afterwards.
At the time, that's right.
Yeah, afterwards they were made to merge. Yeah.
These were Scottish banks, weren't they?
Mm.
And under whose watch did this all happen? Mm-hmm. Mr. Gordon Brown.
He's not Scottish, is he?
Well...
And Alistair Darling as well, he were in charge. Well, he ain't Scottish either,
you will find, if you have a look, that Gordon Brown's a signature to the Scottish Claim of Rights. and that is that he puts Scotland's needs before anything else. And he's a signatory to that bill.
Mm-hmm.
He signed and promised to put Scotland's needs before the rights of anything else. We can be damn sure he did. He safeguarded Scotland's jobs and stuck it on the English taxpayer, didn't he?
Yeah, stuck it on our bill.
But we didn't say anything, did we? We sat quietly, did we? We sat quietly.
Mm-hmm.
And then we were given an Orwellian term, at the very least, quantitative easing. I want you to find somebody in the next week who can tell you what that is. Not somebody who thinks they know what it is, but what it actually is. Quantitative easing. Printing money out of thin air and buying their own gilts. Or trying to sell gilts to people, banks primarily,
yes,
who'll give them money.
Who'll give them money then, yeah.
Or investments or pensions or whoever. See, it was restocking the banks, that was the idea. So the bailout was to restock the banks, and the quantitative easing was to buy the gilts. It was ridiculous. It's just a silly paper recycling system. And the idea with restocking the banks was that they'd lend it into the economy, it would then go into the stock markets, which means little businesses would benefit from it, and they would create more employment. This couldn't possibly have happened, because the end user, the customer, the actual person who's got the money to make the profit, was poorer.
Mm-hmm.
They were poorer. You don't need an economist to work this out. You just need to sit and listen. How many people sit and listen? Most people can't. Shut the fuck up, can they? Yap, bloody yap. This is our show. This is the Unpenned Show. And,
it is.
Yeah. The money system is what's going to bring us all down.
Mm.
And it's not going to last very much longer. Certainly in my lifetime, it is going to end. But all the forecasts are wrong. I think they're all wrong, because it's easy to really look at things and say, what we're going to get is more of the same.
Mm-hmm.
Now, everybody else pictures a day when it all goes wrong, the lights go off, inflation ravages our savings, and we all start panicking.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to say that's not going to happen, but I think it's going to be a controlled crash as it is being right now. The government debt is going up in excess of 120 to 140 billion pounds a year, which of course is our debt, which we pass on to our children, who pass it on to their grandchildren, which means that over time there's going to be nothing else to pay except interest on the made-up banking debt.
Mm-hmm.
So the welfare and the child benefit and the services that we enjoy now, because through taxation they're given back to us, they're going to disappear.
Yeah.
They're not being sold to pay off any debt at all. They're being sold because the world that you live in is now being privatised.
Mm-hmm. It is.
We privatised the coal and the ships. Pretty much bankrupted them, actually. They didn't privatise. They privatised the gas and the electric and the rail and the water, and the rest were bankrupted. Pretty much, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Pretty much.
So it left a monopoly for those that were left.
Well, it's because we keep thinking governments have got the best interests of the people at heart.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's not been true in my lifetime, because their actions say completely the opposite.
They do, yeah.
Many authors say that the government and the politicians are fools and just fill their own coffers. I don't think that's the entire end of that sentence, because behind governments is money, and money is power and control, and we're all being made poor.
We are. Yeah.
See, poor and poorly does mean the same thing.
It does.
We're going to get more sick than we are now.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really believe, when I started studying this all that time ago, that this country would sit back and take this.
No.
Because this is abuse way beyond that I ever expected for us to tolerate.
Mm-hmm.
Are we going to revolt?
No, we're not.
No, we're not. No, we're not, because half the country works for the government, and that half of the country, I can't speak, and I'm not going to generalise, but the people who get promoted, the people in positions and decision-making offices, they know how this works, and they look at us and say, we not you and I, them. We have set up a system for you to be successful. The rules, the regulations, and all the services we provide have enabled you to be successful, and we want paying for that. And that's how they spin this, and that's how it's going to go. They don't care about us.
They don't. No.
You see, I think the English are possibly the most violent and vicious in their own little Englander way. We'd quite happily watch people fail, because without a day's work extra, we feel more successful. You see, for those that don't produce anything, and that's more than half the people, that's more than half the adults in this country who don't produce anything.
No.
Forget the unemployment figures, the lying statistics they are.
Yeah.
More than half the working adults in this country, and the others that don't work, don't produce anything of value that can be turned into wealth and profit at all.
No.
Now, I ain't no genius in business, but if those that aren't producing have more holidays than me, get paid more than I do, retire earlier than me, on a bigger index-linked pension, I ain't no genius. This isn't going to work out well. Not for me, it's not. Because I have to pay it. How many people know the council tax is immediately sent to London, and 300 quid plus is taken out for ground rent and MPs' pensions? Well, hardly anyone knows that. How many people know on the way back, before it even goes down to London, an amount is taken out for the council pension scheme that is invested in stocks and shares, that is run as a profitable investment scheme? How many people know that? How many people know the local council is ran as a business? It has shareholders, but you God damn, you try and find out. You try and find out. But everything's run as a business. But they don't want you to know that. Oh no. They don't want you to know that they take off an amount from your council tax and they put it in an investment portfolio, and that investment portfolio is none of your bloody business. It's your money that's actually doing it, but it's none of your bloody business.
No. Well, Harrogate Borough Council lost 10 million when Iceland went bankrupt.
Yeah, when Mr. Prescott said, hey, I tell you what, you can get 7%, no bother, stick it in Iceland.
Yeah, stick it in Iceland, yeah.
He wouldn't have known what was going to happen, would he? He wouldn't have known that they were going to crash that banking system, would he? Well, he probably didn't, actually. He's too stupid anyway. He's too stupid anyway. Yeah. I mean, Prescott was... I mean, what was Prescott? He was just there for the coal miners, wasn't he? He was just there for the lower end of the labour market.
Yeah, just the union side. Yeah, he was the the gangster go-between, wasn't he? The mob go-between, that's what he was.
He was just a face for the working man, wasn't he?
Yeah.
It's a person on the police ship, wasn't he? Yeah, exactly. Quantitative easing, which actually makes poor people poorer. Yeah. It then actually penalises those that have saved, because inflation starts to eat away at the savings, because the interest rates go down to virtually nothing.
Yeah.
On your savings now, those poor people are on 0.1%. So it penalises the poor, the prudent, and the elderly, and rewards the bankers. Yeah. Do you think that's a mistake?
No. We've
nothing of the bloody sort, is it?
It isn't. We've said in
it's
previous
open
shows
bloody thievery
that this universal credit and
it's coming.
It's here.
It's coming.
It's here already. And
it's in the northwest now. They're trying it out there, aren't they?
And we said, they're piloting it at the moment. That you're getting a card, and you can only pay your rent and get your food and pay your council tax and do the things with this card.
It's going to be interesting how they do that, you know.
But the main guy that was the understudy to Ian Duncan Smith, he's resigned. He's gone. And he was meant to be the brains behind it all. Now, we've said a long time ago that this is going to be... We said, if you don't put in, you don't get out. And that is coming. And
it is eventually, but at the moment, there's still... The Ponzi scheme that this is, at the moment, they can still keep those people home.
Yeah.
But this time, they're going to take away the things that are keeping them home.
Exactly.
Drugs... Okay, drugs and alcohol and drugs. They're going to take away the ability for people to buy these things, How do you think that's going to go? Do you think civilization is going to be a more calm and quiet place? Do you think the addicts are just going to say, oh, well, that's that then, I'll have to stop?
No.
No, they're not, are they? They're going to steal more. They're going to... This is... The crime is going to explode.
It is.
I'm telling you now.
And how we know that, or how that told me today, was that the actual prostitution is actually in our GDP gross domestic product figures.
It always has been. It's just not actually been declared.
It allows for 3.1% at the moment of our gross domestic product, and that's gone up from 2.8% last year. So that's a growth industry that's going to be taxable.
So the future is brothels.
Yes,
legitimate brothels.
Legitimate brothels.
Get yourself on the.
Get one open.
Well, we've just been doing a bit of lighting on the shop there, haven't we? We've just improved the lighting at the front of the shop.
Yeah. And
I've been looking online for one that flashes "Welcome to Nevada." Okay, and then I've been looking for another one that says "Rooms."
Rooms to rent.
Late night bar and dancing girls. Because I think I'm going to actually consider opening a brothel.
Yeah,
I might as well.
But you might as well. The other main thing on Radio 4 this week, and you're ahead of the game again, is open a fish and chip shop.
Radio 4 giving business advice. These are the laziest, dumbest, fattest people. Radio 4, the bloated BBC biased broadcasting corrupt corporation.
Yeah,
exactly.
Amazing.
Buggering British children. Honest to God. Even DJ Neil Fox is getting in trouble now. Foxy.
Oh, no.
Even Foxy. I'm sure. I am sure now to the point of I'm prepared to stand up and debate this. Mm-hmm. We are run by a ring of deviants.
We are, yeah.
These are deviants. Now, if you listened to David Cameron, English all the way through, with Scots descent and the Scots Trust Fund, and he's proud of his... I'm posh and I'm proud of it, so get used to it. Yeah. Him and Boris, imagine what games they played when they were little, farting. What was the Bullingdon Club, isn't it? Is it the Bullingdon Club?
I think so. I think there's a film come out called The Riot Club. I'd love to see it.
Yeah, that's what they used to do. That's what they did.
Yeah.
They used to get smashed on champagne and wreck restaurants, didn't they? Mm. And then they used to have... they used farting competitions, wasn't it?
And saucers of milk.
Cameron and the European Union. Was it in the European Union? I think it was the European Union. Or was it the UN? Doesn't matter. Last week. You and I, we said this. Homegrown terrorists.
Yep.
And the non-violent ones should be treated the same as the violent ones. Mm-hmm. Then he had to go to conspiracy theorists. Right? That we shouldn't tolerate. I mean, it was a bit George Bush's. That conspiracy theorists should be grouped into that. And this is. It isn't going. They're not going to knock on the door. They're not going to drag us away. But they'll have us think that they're trying to abolish the Human Rights Act and that sort of thing, so they can come and drag us away and we're never seen again.
Nope.
Right, that's not going to happen. Okay, because if you question 9/11 or 7/7 and the official verdict, right, the way Cameron spoke was you're a terrorist. Okay, so you don't know who your enemy is because you're not allowed to criticise them.
Oh, you're not.
Right, it's very simple. You're not allowed to criticise your enemy. Okay, you know who your boss is, your dictator is. That's who it is. You're not allowed to criticise. Right, he's not. They're not going to drag us away like that. If that was true, they'll have to build a few more prisons because there's bloody thousands of people. There's tens of thousands of people that know that these people are lying. They're lying through the back teeth.
They are.
Now, do they know they're lying? Of course, they bloody know they're lying. That's why they're in those positions, because they can actually do it without a smile. Usually, people's body language gives them away, no problem at all. But they can do it without a smile. They can actually do it without pursing the lips or licking the lips. They can keep their hands by the sides and in the pockets playing billiards. They can manage that.
Yeah.
Most people give themselves away with the hand movements, the body language, and that sort of thing.
Well, that goes into... We have the Human Rights Act, but they don't see us as human. And the very language they use is cattle and chattel. And why do we have vaccinations when it says vaccination?
Cow nation.
Cow nation.
Because we're a bunch of bloody cowards, that's why. Let's get this out in the open, shall we?
Yep.
How many people have we met like me and you? Bloody me and you. Right? No bugger else. They're all a bunch of ballless cowards. Or they can talk and yap, yeah? But they haven't got plenty to bless themselves with, and they won't stand up.
No,
they won't stand up when the time comes, will they?
No.
Years we've been talking.
Yeah.
Years. We've been doing this for a couple of years on YouTube. Do we get much support? No, we don't. Did we know we wouldn't? Of course we know we wouldn't.
Yeah.
Because we don't have any time for those that don't.
No.
You see, there's comment and share and like on Facebook, but there's no bloody do, is there? There's no actually do. You know, and we would get, they wouldn't like, what do you do? Well, I sit at home and I campaign. All right, how long have you been doing that for? 5 years. You should have really moved on from there a little bit. You should have figured out that doing nothing is exactly what the domestication program wants you to do. It's all right bitching on Facebook. It's all right pretending that you're part of a group of 5, 6, 7. Now look at the radio stations that have been, these actual truth, freedom, whatever radio stations.
TNS,
right? I look at them all, and I always have a scan round and see how they're doing for listeners. Right? A station that claimed itself to be the UK's number one just a few months ago. The UK's number one, right? The head of the station, the station manager, the man at the helm who's driving the UK's number one alternative radio station on Monday night, 5 listeners.
Used to be 6 as he lost one.
I think you just logged in the once this time.
All right.
This is a domestication program for rebels. And it works really well, doesn't it?
It does.
It works really well because it makes you feel like you're doing something when the truth is you're doing bloody nothing.
Well, yeah, I've figured it out for what it is. It's a big psyop. That's what it is. It's encouraging people to do nothing. Even on Radio 4 a few weeks back, it had a guy in the northwest somewhere, and they were taking over a pub. We've got the keys, we've got the car. I listened to it and I thought, this is exactly what they want. These people doing nothing and creating chaos, and then they can turn the word activist into terrorist. You're playing so into their hands. No problem whatsoever.
You and I have been accused
ahead of the game.
Yeah, well, you and I have been accused of giving up the fight, as it were. Right. First of all, no one's coming to get you.
No.
Right. Nobody is coming to get you. Half of these headlines never ever come to anything more than this. The idea is that you think they're going to. We don't often do the news, but I'm doing it a little bit today because there is a point I want to make, and that is that scrapping the Human Rights Act, okay, and openly saying that you guys sat at home, you conspiracy theorists, questioning the government's narrative, you are as dangerous and should be treated as such as the violent activists elsewhere. Right, now that's your first warning.
Yeah,
but
that's a shot across your bows.
Yeah, it is. And what it allows them to do is this. What really is going to transpire here is censorship of the internet. That's where this is going to go. They're getting ready to take over the internet. They're getting ready to take full control of it. Now, they didn't know how this was going to grow organically over the years that it's been existing. But there's no doubt about it that even though it's not always evident on the internet, a lot of people are starting to think, what is going on? Now, whether they'll sit down and do the research, whether they'll actually get to the point of, I know what's going on, we'll have to see how that works out. But people are starting to work out that we're moving into a global authoritarian system. The students in Hong Kong, they've figured it out.
Yeah,
they're protesting long and hard. I mean, they're showing us how it's done, but peacefully. They're protesting long and hard against the people of Hong Kong being selected by China.
Yeah. Now, there was a little clip tonight
vote for,
as I was driving home, again on Radio 4, and they're interviewing a young girl from Hong Kong. She had a lovely American accent, and it was
He's so sad.
It was pitch perfect. And and she said, the guy said, what you were with there was interviewing. I said, what are you really after? And she said, we're after democracy. We want democracy so that we can choose what we want. And I was just sat there thinking,
well, that's the definition, but they're not going to get it.
I'm going to say, well, that's totally upside down. Democracy means that the mob rule. The majority rule. The majority get what they want. It doesn't matter what you want. You've got to go what the majority says.
Yeah, if you look at that, and the people who do the counting tell you who the majority is, I mean, that's the people of Scotland. That's the people of Scotland, exactly. You know? I mean,
was it yes or was it no? It was close.
We made the claim that it didn't matter.
No,
it didn't matter.
Make that claim. Yes,
you know, in the dying hours of what was the actual day before the vote, Cameron made him some promises. He did.
Yeah.
And he said that if you stay with us, we'll be doing it. We can look at these things.
Yeah.
And then 4 days later, he said, the English MPs won't let us do that. It's not fair. You see, so it's all timing. Timing and betrayal. A timely betrayal. But the people of Scotland are not really rearing up, are they?
Nope.
They're not fighting back like I thought they would.
And watch Alex Salmond. He'll be retiring with his index-linked pension.
He's resigned already. You've missed that.
Resigned. I know he's resigned, but he'll still be getting his index-linked pension. Well, he's done his part.
Of course they do.
Come on, yeah.
He acted it out very well.
He did.
I think he had a little bit of passion in there, but that boy's he's been compromised. We pretty much know what he's been involved in. What many of them have been involved in. And we can't say anymore because we have no truth. But that boy's been compromised.
But somebody is in prison over claims of it anyway, out there, that we do know.
Somebody who's questioning him is in prison, yeah.
Questioned his, yeah.
And when you question these people, you go to prison.
And he spoke from the heart. We went to listen to that guy, and he spoke from the heart. Robert Green.
A lot of people who've never done anything in their lives, except spend the time on the internet, declaring everybody to be a shill. Remember, these people are probably not real most of the time.
No.
We're in the Al Gore rhythm lifestyle here. This is where basically the internet can appear to be anything you want it to be.
It can.
This is an angel of light that speaks to you in your own language and can provide your answers to every question.
It's a God-given gift.
We did have that, yeah. We did have someone say that, yeah. Who should know bloody better. We live in the most exciting times ever. I don't know if there's been more exciting times, but not for me there hasn't.
No.
Not in my lifetime. But we have taken another click down.
Oh, we have. I can see that in my children.
We have taken a real big step down. And I actually felt it sort of to some extent over the weekend. I was a bit weary and a bit... and it does. That's when you sort of... You do think negatively about the future. And you and I don't think we can change the future.
No.
And we don't think we know anybody who can actually change the future as to what's already decided for us. But we can change what we do within it.
Yes.
This is the factor, isn't it? We can change what part we play.
Yeah.
As I said, and I always wander off, as I said, there are a lot of people saying it'll collapse one day and we'll all be helpless and the lights will go off and the shelves will empty and we'll all say something must be done, and then the bankers will ride in. They might as well have white horses and halos above their heads. They might as well go the flicking full hog, and they'll save the day. That's how a lot of people say it's going to play out, and it may well be that. But I think that's a little bit too messy. It's
too Disney.
It's too messy, isn't it? Yeah. I mean, we like Disney.
We
do like Disney, but it's a bit too messy. It's a little bit too because the conspiracy guys and girls and everybody we spoke to, they want. That's what they say is going to happen.
Yeah.
And how many times have you known them to be right? Pretty much never, really. We can always forecast how the future is going to go, but not exactly how it's going to be presented.
No.
And it always presents itself in a slightly different way. Or sometimes we don't even know we're there until we're there. People are saying the re-education camps. Where are they? They're here. You've been living in it all your life. The re-education camps that you're looking for, they were done in the Second World War or before that, in this country, because we had the medium of television. This is a complete country of a re-education camp. You've been going through it through education and media indoctrination your entire life.
Yeah.
So there's no special camp required, really. Where's the network of spies? Well, it's your next-door neighbour. It's your next-door neighbour who will keep an eye on you. They've tried the what was it, that... where you could phone in and get a reward.
Yeah.
Crime Stoppers.
Yeah.
Crime Stoppers. They
that's
tried
still
that.
Going, yeah.
That's where you could phone in and get a citizen's reward if you spotted something, that sort of thing. But I actually think that I'm led to believe, and I've seen it quite often myself, is that we're all playing spies as we go around, and we've got spies now who look like police.
Yeah.
They look like police, and they wear the police uniform, and it nearly spells cops on the back, doesn't it? PCSO. Which is just a jumbled up spell of cops.
Yeah. Well, I've got
and they even drive cop vehicles.
I've got an opportunity to go to court. 18th of December it is, and I'm going to give evidence on the guys that nicked my trailer.
Oh, we'll have to go.
So we're going.
We'll have to go.
I'll let you know how it pads out.
I'm going to get an armband saying observer.
Yeah.
All right.
They didn't turn up for court apparently, and they had warrants out for the rest. Well, they've arrested them. They've got them, so they're in custody at the moment. They're waiting trial.
All right.
So we'll
We'll have to go for a day out.
Yeah, we're going to. It's just down in Harrogate at the Magistrates.
Oh,
Court
we're off.
there.
We're off.
Yeah,
Oh, that'll be a good show.
So that'll be good fun.
Yeah, that'll be a good show. We'll do that.
So I'll have to. It's going to be interesting because I don't want to swear on the Bible. So I'm going to ask the judge if that's okay if I don't swear.
Well, you can't tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth because you can only tell what you know so far.
Exactly, and that's what I'm going to go with. I can only tell you what I can remember what happened at the time, and it's been a long time since then and now. So I'm only going on what I can remember.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Well, we'll have a chat. I mean, we're going to be fun.
Yeah, but
It's going to be fun.
That's where the police have they're doing what they're there for. To protect they should be there to protect our property and us.
But they're not, are they?
But they're not really.
Not really.
No.
I mean, it's only after the event, isn't it?
It was the after the event. This is a little
it
side
is only
show.
the after the event. I mean, there was no one stood guard at your door, was there?
No.
A crime wasn't being prevented.
No.
Not like it is at politicians' doors and people like that.
Crime prevention.
No, they have a 24-hour, armed guard.
They do, yeah.
Wonder why that is.
An armoured vehicle.
Well, it's cheaper than the castle.
Armour-plated vehicle.
But it's cheaper than the castle. Yeah. They had to build castles and bring them all in there at one point, didn't they? Chop the bloody heads off. That's the French. That didn't go well either, to be honest.
The other, which fits in with the human rights thing, Radio 4 again today, the Bias Broadcasting Corporation. It's good to listen to it. It reiterates everything that you read about and put the dots together. There's a little girl. I don't know where she's from. The jihadists. She's been missing for a week. They think she's gone to join the jihadists, and they're leaving. There's thousands leaving a week apparently to go. And then in the next breath, they're
25 apparently.
They're on about the immigrants that are trying to get into the country, and the scanners that scan the containers. They only work intermittently. They're not on all the time because they haven't got enough officers to sit there and operate the scanner. So they don't know how many.
Do you believe this rubbish?
Are people leaving?
Do you believe this
or
rubbish?
are people coming in?
Are you repeating this because you believe it? Or are we going to get at the end? It's the BBC. It's state broadcasting.
It is. This
is
the
state broadcasting.
This is the BBC that
with a board of 12 directors
looked after Jimmy Savile. So if you're looking after a guy like that, they're not looking after your best interests.
Buggering British children.
Yes.
That's what
exactly. We're interested in. And it's like asking Satan to do a report into Beelzebub. It really is. What answer are you going to get? But it fits perfectly with this human right. And so many people will say, yes, we need this Human Rights Act because we can't have these jihadists coming and becoming.
No, they want to scrap it.
We're
not listening to them. They want to scrap it.
I know. But that makes it easier to lock you and I up for talking like this.
They haven't got the police. They haven't got the numbers. They haven't got the jail cells.
No, but that's what they want you to think.
If you and I are in trouble, okay?
Oh, there'd have been
there'll be thousands to go if you and I get it. They haven't got enough spaces to do it all. But the idea is it's the threat of it.
It is the threat, the fear of it. Yeah. Get you all feared. Yeah.
That's the idea. Eventually they'll do it over the internet, you know that.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually we'll get some sort of warning.
Yeah.
But I don't think we will. I don't think we're doing anything that really... We're not making allegations a fact here.
No, we're not.
It's observations.
It is.
It's observations that we're led to believe this could be true. We're led to believe that could be true. We don't make conspiracy theory shows because although many conspiracy theories over the years have proved to be true, and the word conspiracy is just that a number of people who we call conspirators have sat down, made a plan that's beneficial to themselves, and not told anybody else. Well, that is what's happening around the world of business, day after day after day after day.
And you and I look after ourselves. I don't go in any government buildings. Oh, I might be. Well, we're going to one at Magistrates Court, but I think we'll be all right there. I don't work for the government. I take myself to and from work. I don't rely on public transport, the tube, and all that kind of thing. So the chances of me being killed by a terrorist are quite small.
Well, I think you might find the numbers are more people die falling out the bath, falling downstairs, or in police custody.
Yes,
than have ever been hit by terrorists.
Yeah, or working for the government. David Kelly.
I would think, being a research scientist, advisor. There's also some interesting ones, isn't there? There's I wonder what happened to them. Yeah. And there's a lot that we don't get to know about.
Oh yeah. We've never heard any more about the female body they found in one of the palace's grounds somewhere. If I forget where that was. But yeah, no more about that. Don't even know who she was.
We're going to live in a world of checkpoints.
We are, yeah.
Okay.
That's what they want.
We're going to live in a world of checkpoints. That's also we can control our mobility.
Mm-hmm.
They've already got us GPS, and the actual number of police they're going to need is going to reduce gradually because they won't need them. They already have spies in our houses, spies in our phones. God knows what's in the lampposts. God knows what new cars can do. But I already know what they can do.
Yeah.
They can listen. And they can send information to and fro. I mean, anybody who thinks this isn't the way it is just stupid.
I fit in a central heating pump on Saturday, and the central heating pump, you can even download the app so you can monitor it on your mobile phone. Why the hell would you need to monitor your central heating pump?
Everything connected.
Crazy.
But they want everything connected.
Yeah,
you
so
see, you and I have been saying for a long time.
Yeah.
Everything is connected to everything else. So they have to build a system that is exactly the same of everything connected to everything else.
Yeah.
This is a power grid to monitor us.
Yeah.
I think if we could stay alive long enough and the money system falls, because they can still print as much money as they want.
Yeah, of course
They don't have a problem with printing the money.
No.
It's getting the markets to absorb the money without inflating the economy, which is what governments love to do.
Yeah.
Because governments can reduce the debts by inflating the economy. You know, if it just does. You know, if you get paid something like I don't know, £10 an hour now, and inflation over the next 5 and 10 years is let's say 20-30% or 10% a year. You see, you're going to be earning 10, 11, it's going to be 22, 23, 24 quid, something like that. Well, it makes your debts easier to pay because your debts don't grow. You see, so your debts don't grow, but inflation grows your income. But, of course, your income never grows as fast as everything else around you. You know, look at your gas bill, look at your electric bill, look at your water bill, especially if you've got a smart meter. If you just put a smart meter in or you've had one installed, and you have no choice either because it's not your meter.
No.
Although you can have it put on the outside of your house. You can try and get away with that if you want.
But it just means they can switch it off by mobile phone.
Well, it means you can read it by mobile phone.
And read it,
and they can regulate it as well.
But they can switch it off.
I actually got the guy who put mine in. I was sat chatting to him because mine's in the road.
Yes.
So it's not even on my own property. So I couldn't stop him because it's not even on my own property. Anyway, I got to chat to him, and I said to him, I said, what is the reason for these smart meters? He said, so they can read, they just want to save on meter readings. I said, nah. I said, there's got to be more than that. I said, you tell me what they can and can't do. He said, well, they can also restrict the flow. I said, why would they want to do that? He said, if you haven't paid your bill.
Yeah, turn you down to a trickle.
Well, who wouldn't build it like that? Who wouldn't build it like that? But that's because I said to him, but what about if you've used your allowance up? He said, what do you mean allowance? I said, well, if I'm right in thinking the future, water won't be as easy and accessible as it is now. Not because it's going to disappear. Oh no. Although fracking could actually cause a lot of problems with fresh water supply. But we don't have a fresh water supply. A lot of people who are they don't understand how the water system works. We live in a fully closed recycle system.
Yeah, is that right?
A lot of people think that the water that the fracking is going to contaminate drinking water. That's not really how it's going to work. It's going to contaminate the rivers and the streams, which eventually flow into the sea itself.
Reservoir, yeah, whatever, yeah.
Well, the reservoir isn't it pumped from? Basically, it fills itself up through the rainwater. Isn't it really just like your central heating where you just top it up as far as I understand?
Yeah, just top it. Yeah, because we're actually on a national system now. Yeah. It's all fully pumped.
Yeah.
There's no little. They sold all the pump houses off.
That's what I mean. It's a big national grid.
It is a big, and
it's all recyclable water. Yeah. All the water that goes down the drains and everything.
And if there's a shortage somewhere, they can divert it to the shortage areas. Yeah.
Exactly. So, not that I'm for fracking, by the way. I'm sure fracking's not going to be good for us.
But it's people with boreholes. And we have a few customers around here that have running on boreholes. And of course, they want rid of them, don't they? Because it's free water for them, practically.
We do know that I'm sure
free.
they want...
They don't want anything for free.
No. Well, if you've got a borehole, you actually have it tested every 3 months.
You do have to have it tested, and they can say whether you can use
drink it or not. The fact that you've been drinking out of it for your entire lifetime, and your grandma and your granddad and the great granddad, and
there's 3 generations in the family I know on this bowl, and they were sat round having a cup of tea, all the 3 generations, and I said, "Can you all smile at me?" And they have the raw milk as well. Calcium, full of the calcium.
They've all got a mouthful of teeth.
And old Mr. Franklin, he's 86 and he's got all his own teeth.
I think we can conclude something there, can't we? Right, let's move along then. With the little gap there was because we've had a little break there, didn't we? Mm-hmm. Okay, no clips this week. I've not bothered with clips at all because well, we put them on the shows, haven't we?
We have.
And we started off with Hague this time.
We did
a year ago, saying that we'll arm the Syrian rebels.
Yep.
And now we're actually going to attack them. So we arm them first, then we attack them.
Yeah.
It's our bad memories, and we do have bad memories.
We do.
And bad memories isn't a new thing at all. Hitler raved on that. The one thing that we can be guaranteed is our ability to forget. Yes. The ability to forget was what really enabled the controlling powers to keep in control. Mm-hmm. Because for some reason that I don't have the understanding of why, we only remember the good bits. Mm-hmm. Somehow we program out the bad bits.
Yeah.
All the pain that we go through, all the struggles, all the strife, they do make us who we are, but we don't remember them. We remember our little bits of happiness because they're so few and far between.
Yeah.
And these can be found in Hitler's quotes from the 30s, really. I've put those quotes up on Facebook before just to see what happens. And we're going down exactly the same route. Mm-hmm. And that is demonising the people at the bottom. And we've talked about the people at the bottom an awful lot, and we feel we really are part of that number. But we're not the same as that number. We're not all the same at all.
No.
Okay, those people, they are going to get onto the digital card, and they are going to be denied the ability to buy the things they may want to.
Yep.
And I'm not sure if they're going to be allowed to stay on that card because they've already said between 18 and 21 they'll pay your job seekers for 6 months, and if you don't get a job, okay, they're going to find you one.
Yeah.
That's not going to stop 18 to 21s. That's just the age range they've started with. Mm-hmm. It's not going to stop there. This is remember, this is big business that wants to take over a country.
Yeah.
We have to overcome. We live in the country of England. Mm-hmm. We have to overcome that we have a government that we think we've elected to serve our needs.
Yeah. That's
not the future that is actually outlined for us here. The government has been taken over a long time ago. But by taken over, I don't mean replaced by the very leaders of business. I mean the actual businesses themselves have placed their operatives in the government departments, in the quangos, in the think tanks, in the all the institutes, the Royal Institute of International Affairs and that sort of thing, the Tavistock Institute. Yeah. They have set this control method up. Mm-hmm. The business and the bankers working together, because bankers and business are the same business. If we could see who owns these businesses, or the major shareholders in all the businesses, we wouldn't see the shop signs we do now. We'd see Barclays, we'd see Lloyds, we'd see HSBC. That'd be the signs above all the shops because they're the major shareholders.
Yep.
But we don't see that properly. No. We see businesses competing. We don't see supermarkets in the way we should. Supermarkets are competing with each other, but they all sell the same stock. If you see what I mean, they all sell the same products. So the supermarkets are competing to sell the same products. Well, who's in charge of which supermarket wins? The people who supply them with the stock. Do you see how that works?
Yeah.
Okay, it's the people who supply them with the stock. That's who's going to win.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, one of the supermarkets will actually fail. And we'll find that the German branch of supermarkets is going to come and step forward.
Yep.
And we're going to support them.
Yes,
we actually find that these smaller supermarkets selling brands that we don't recognise, they are the ones that are going to start taking the business.
Yep.
The people who actually organise our lives for us to live, they don't look forward next week, next month, or even next year.
No.
They look forward in the short term, 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
In the long term, considerably longer than that.
Yep.
But in the short term, they look forward 30 years and the trends that are developing.
Yeah.
And they know by listening and watching us intently, closely,
Mm-hmm.
they know what we're going to do
Yep.
before we know we're going to do it.
Mm-hmm. Well, at the weekend, I just happened to read a little bit of that Protocols of Zion.
Yep.
And 1912, that was published, wasn't it? And it was developed in the early, towards the end of the 18th century, and then published in 1912. You read that, pretty much job done. 102 years ago, job done.
That's the way it reads.
Yeah.
That's the way it reads. And some say it's been debunked. Some say it's a forgery. Well, if it's a forgery, it's only a copy.
Well,
it's only a copy.
It's only a copy.
A forgery is a copy.
It is a copy.
It's not a counterfeit.
No.
Not a counterfeit as such, is it?
No.
It still is the real thing. It's just been
Just
forged.
been forged, yeah.
Exactly. So it doesn't matter.
No.
Do we think this is a Jewish conspiracy? Well, David Cameron, again, in his speech last week, said that he accused the conspiracy theorists of blaming the Jews for 9/11.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Now, I've said before, and I'm going to keep saying it, because what comes out of people's mouths, more often than not, is confession. We can't stop confessing, but we do it in the third person, or we just don't attach it to ourselves. But confession is what comes out, because all we can talk about is what goes in your eyes and your ears.
Yes.
Is what comes out your mouth.
What speaks out your mouth, yeah.
And it's a lot easier. It's a lot easier to speak about things that you know, and it's a lot easier to lie about things that you know.
Mm-hmm.
And the best part about this is that if Cameron says it's a Jewish conspiracy 9/11, and you know says the conspiracy theorists say this, then that's just negated all connections between the Jews and 9/11 for those that heard him say it.
Mm-hmm.
So if we say yes, it could have been a conspiracy, it could have been Jews, it could have been an awful lot of people working together.
It could, yes.
And if you say that, you're now saying it's nuts. You see? Yeah. And if you try and blame the Jews, you'll be anti-Semitic.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
You see, they've got this defence, this wonderful defence,
yeah.
this wonderful shield that nobody else has got.
No.
They can accuse you of being anti-Semitic
just
by criticising the Jews.
Mm-hmm. There's no other faith got
but remember how this works.
Mm-hmm.
You'll know who's in charge, because eventually you won't be allowed to criticise them.
No, you won't.
The Jews have been used and abused for hundreds of years.
We'll say
centuries.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
History claims at least the 12th century.
Mm-hmm.
This story was used to convince the Christians of who their enemy was. And they must be removed. The same playbook on a brand new audience.
Yeah.
The same playbook time and time and time again. And why do they keep using it? Because it bloody works.
It works. And
it works.
And it's been written down in the past, that we are the chosen people. God has chosen us.
The book says,
I wish
who's coming back?
Yeah.
Who's he going to be? What's his name?
He's the saviour of the...
He's the King of the Jews.
King of the Jews, yeah.
That's who's coming back. Now, I am twixt and between on the Bible. And I'll tell you for why. There was a time when it held no interest for me. But I remember in the early days, I found myself saying things that sounded a bit biblical. And I was speaking in a way that I thought, where are these words coming from? And they sounded to me in the early days a bit biblical. And I thought, I'm just falling for another trick somewhere else. I'm falling out of one tree and into another one. You know, beliefs. Well, I've just left that branch and joined that branch. And I thought, I'm not sure about this at all. It's a hell of a book, that Bible.
It is.
It is brilliantly written. Because how old it is doesn't matter.
No.
Who believes it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to me.
Who wrote it? Who knows?
Exactly. These things don't matter anymore.
It's all Hebrew to me.
And I'll have one as well. But it doesn't matter. Because what's in there is the first Hollywood blockbuster.
Yes, it certainly
It's
is.
the first Hollywood blockbuster of a guy against all odds taking on the power brokers.
Blow Shakespeare out the water. He had a few goes at it.
But it is, to its point, it's the John Wayne of the day.
Mm-hmm.
It's the rebel with a cause.
Yeah, yeah.
And he says helping the blind to see was his greatest gift.
Yeah.
And I don't think that Bible is as much to be ignored as we have done.
No.
But when you listen to the preachers in the churches telling the stories to their flock, it feels like you sat at a 5-year-old Jackanory session.
Mm-hmm.
It really does feel like you sat at a children's storytelling session.
Yeah.
Things move on, don't they?
They do move on.
Over the weekend, I've looked at 3 or 4 books, and I've been speed reading them a little bit because there's nothing in there. And I'm reading these books, from people who are.
This is what you should read.
Yeah, exactly. There's nothing in there that I don't already know, and I'm thinking, like, which books do I read now? I am ploughing through a few at the moment. I'm enjoying it as well.
Mm.
I'm enjoying it now.
Just going on the religion thing, the Radio 4 pushing Buddhism this week.
All right. Sit down.
Got-
Sit down. Fold your legs.
Buddhists on
Fold
this
your legs.
week,
Cross
yes.
your arms and don't fight back.
Oh dear.
Don't fight back. No violence. Don't fight back. Don't you fight. I mean, moan all you like. But don't fight.
What flavour do you want this week?
Exactly.
Stop me and buy one.
We've got something for everybody. Something for everybody. Roll up, everybody. I have serums and potions and lotions for you all. If you've got an itch, I've got a cream for it. We never see where we are.
No.
We keep looking backwards to where we think we should be.
Mm-hmm.
The system always updates.
Yeah.
This is a re-education camp.
It is.
Okay, we live in it.
Mm.
We are surrounded by a citizen spy type system.
It has. And I was doing the Citizen Spy at the weekend. It's just made me think of something else. That just walked with the dogs on Sunday, had a couple of pints, and there were a gang of lads turned up out. It was a lovely day. We sat outside. The dogs were in the river, and there were a gang of lads turned up, and I just happened to look across, and one of the lads out there, pint in one hand, cig in one hand, he'd put his pint down, and hand down his pants.
A lot of them are doing that.
Hand down
They
his
actually
pants.
physically in public
Playing with
hand
it.
down, yeah,
In
hand down,
public.
yeah.
And I just said to Karen, I said, what is wrong with these guys that
I've
have
seen
no
that.
shame?
I've seen that before.
My
I've seen it
mother
before.
had just said, get your hands out your pants, you dirty little bugger. Get you.
But remember,
No,
but that
in
was
public.
That
Disgusting.
That was something you did when you were 3 or 4.
Yeah, yeah.
Think.
These-
Now take a moment. Think.
These kids,
How
kids
old?
are in
How
the
old?
20s.
How old?
Yeah.
Because they're acting
Like
3
3
and 4
and 4-year-olds. Yeah. Disgusting.
We're being brought down to the lowest common denominator.
We are.
And
Yeah.
the lowest common denominator is sex.
Yeah.
Straightforward, sex.
Yeah.
Germany, they've thrown it into the arena again. Incest.
Oh,
Yeah,
dear.
they want to see if the German Republic are ready to accept incest. Nobody in the right mind would actually think that this was a good thing to do
No.
because of the amount of problems that children that are born through incest can be born with. And the figures are about half, 50% of the children born have some sort of problem because of an incestuous relationship. But Germany has said, look, who are we to stop people if they want to do this? Yeah, so they're throwing the hat in the ring.
Yeah, yeah.
Will it get put through? Of course, it won't get through. But it doesn't matter.
Don't-
You see, by doing
Thoughts there, yeah.
no, but by doing that, you almost legalise it, don't you? You almost legalise
Yeah,
it.
we said this about
You
Jimmy
don't
Savile and
legalise it.
everything.
Yeah,
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 it
you're all-
normalises it.
You're starting to
Yeah.
people to think, well, it's okay. There's people in the government that think this is okay.
Yeah.
And the judicial system might be instructed to not take these cases to court. And that's so it's a bit like your school nurse giving the pill to 13-year-olds. Now, the legal age of consent in this country is still 16, but it's not really, is it? Not when school is giving the contraceptive pill to 13-year-old girls, because that's telling 13-year-old girls you can have sex.
Yeah, it is.
Do you see how that works?
Yeah.
And we know that current serving members of the government were members of the Paedophile Information Exchange, called PI. And one of their manifesto pledges and claims and desires was to considerably lower the age of consent to 4.
Scary stuff.
Yeah. So even though we're not going to accept at this time, doesn't mean they're going to stop trying.
No, they won't stop trying. No.
Doesn't mean they're going to stop trying. Like I said earlier on, all parasites try and find their own parasites, and they want to breed with them, or make a culture where they exist, and then they want to infect everybody else, because these people are at dis-ease.
Yeah,
that's what they are, at dis-ease. They don't want to cure themselves. Oh no. They want to infect you. You see, what this actually says to the weak and deviant is that this is what you need to be to join us. This is what you need to be part of our gang. Because a gang of thieves can never, ever have an honest man as part of their team. You and I would never get into positions of any sort of control.
No.
Because I couldn't be corrupted. I couldn't have learnt all I know now and then take the money. I couldn't do it. But people are not prepared to do the work, are they? Well, the people who are in charge, they don't want to do any work. They've been to the education camp for them, Eton, Cambridge, Oxford, or whatever. They've been groomed for purpose. They've been told that they have the chance to be special. They have the chance to mark a page in history with their name on it. They are the chosen people to lead this country forwards.
Yep.
And that's where we get to choose from. We don't select, we just elect. We don't pick them.
We don't.
No, we don't.
No.
This game should be coming to an end by now. And I'm hoping that people of our age at least should know damn well better by now.
They should, yeah.
Now the kids, it's up to the parents. And the parents, they're too busy challenging the kids on Call of Duty.
Yeah.
And too busy sharing the kids' video games. So, where does this leave us now? Because we've been doing this for a while, haven't we?
We have, yeah.
And we've got a pretty good view now of how the future might pan out. It's hard to put this into words because it feels like I'm agreeing with the system. But evolution isn't for everybody. That appears quite obvious. Most people are asking for revolution.
Yes.
Which is to go around again.
Or devolution, even.
Well, devolution is what... That's revolution is for those that recognise something is wrong.
Yeah.
But they're not looking to evolve. They keep looking backwards at what's wrong and thinking you can fix things backwards. You can't fix things backwards. And you can't fix things by getting into little groups and discussing how you're going to fix something. Because you have to get into the position of being able to fix it. Which means that at some point we're going to have to face the corruption and challenge the system for its position. Now, are we going to do that? Not a bloody hope in hell. There's not a bloody hope in hell. Because we're a moaning, whinging, weak set of idiots who think we know stuff when it clearly is obvious that we don't. We don't know enough. And you and I have left it far too late to play catch-up in the game of how this is done.
We have, yeah.
But the one thing we can do is speak to the younger generation. Although I suspect I've been employing kids now for a long, long time. I don't think we can turn them around. I have one member of staff who started with me when she was 14 years old. She's 21 now. She's heard me over the 7 years talking, and I've spoke to her, and we've chatted about many things. Can't get her. Can't get her to change her ways. I cannot get it to happen. 7 years. I don't indoctrinate her as such. I just say, well, I don't think this is going to be good. I don't think this is going to work out well if you do this, and I don't think this is a good idea, and I think acting this way just causes an awful lot of problems. And she listens, and she says she understands, and that's not the way. She doesn't incorporate any of the things that I'm hoping she might benefit from. She doesn't incorporate any of those things into her life. She just gets on and does what all the rest of the kids who are 21 do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I have to accept that that's probably what I'd have done.
Yeah, that's what you've
that's
got.
That's probably exactly what I'd have done, yeah.
It's the baptism of fire, isn't it, that you
so
need?
all I can do is hope that the seed has not been thrown out.
No.
And hope that the seed does, eventually take root.
Yeah.
But not yet.
No.
Not yet. But it's not for the want of trying.
No, but she'll realise...
Maybe she will, maybe she
It's when the falls come, isn't it? It's when that descent comes.
It's always when the fall, because the fall is, for a while, it's exciting.
Yeah.
It's
when you hit the buffers and you've got to get off.
But what's happening at this moment in time, if I had to describe the fall right now, it's a relationship that's going wrong.
Mm.
It's a relationship that has more arguments than it has good times. It's a relationship where there's deception on at least one, if not both sides. It's a relationship where you're reading the diary or trying to steal a mobile phone and have a look in there and trying to download what's on the computer while they're not watching. This is where we are. This is where we are in this relationship with government. Mm-hmm. They've got cameras on the street, cameras wherever you look, spies in your house. They can download the contents of your phone. They can download the content onto a computer, and they've got GPS tracking where you're going. Mm-hmm. This is like a psychopath would track its prey. Because he thinks this is like a crazy boyfriend would follow his ex-girlfriend and see who she's seeing now and who she's talking to and what she's saying. And if she doesn't come back to him, he's going to do something terrible. Well, that's where we are in this relationship with government. They're following us around. They're listening to what we're saying. They won't allow us to ask questions. We can't ask them what they're doing, but they want to know every single minute of what we're up to. They record every single word, every single phone call, read every single text, intercept every single email. They cannot bear not to know what we're doing. But don't you dare ask what they're doing.
No.
With the sort of power that this group of people now have, and the absolute indifference, the pride of the ignorance that's worn by the members of the public who should know better, I don't care to guess how much pain is going to be inflicted on this country eventually. Because the rise can only begin after the fall has ended. Mm-hmm. And we are so far removed from what we should be and how we should be and what we should recognise as a full frontal attack on our very lives. Mm-hmm. And we don't.
No.
We don't recognise it as the attack that it is. We see ourselves individually as small, tiny, insignificant people. And if that's what you say you are, then so be it, that's what you are. But I know different. Mm. I can remember the playground. I can remember the bully. Mm. And I can remember getting past the bully and speaking to the guys and girls in the chess club. And they were terrified of me. Once I got past their control, they had nothing to defend themselves with.
No, that was the same happened to me as well. I faced up to the bully and they ended up picking on somebody else. They left me alone.
You've got to get past the bully. The bully will always intimidate you, and government is playing bully.
Yeah.
But once you get past that defence, they say you can't get past that defence. So you don't have to fight your way past in the physical.
No.
They use numbers, and they convince us that our numbers are small, and we're insignificant, and we're weak.
Yeah.
Well, I know we're not insignificant.
No.
We're not weak, and our numbers are bigger than most people know. But we can't find each other.
No.
We can't find each other. It doesn't need 60%. It doesn't need 50%. It needs a determined number of people.
Yeah.
We mustn't give up.
No.
And we mustn't lay down.
No. And
when the time comes, those that stand up and be counted
Will be.
We'll see who they are.
And you'll come out with a black eye, a bust nose, and a bust lip.
You might just have to take a little bit of a beating.
You'll be able to walk away and lick your wounds.
You might just have to take a bit of a beating.
Yeah.
But that's the way this goes.
It is.
But these people, if we can get them to know that we are strong and we're not backing down,
No.
and as long as we can just keep ourselves together, shouting and bawling, it doesn't matter. I'm hoping there's 50, 100, 150, 200,000 people sat in this country who know what's going on at our level. And as long as they keep trying, as things get worse, as things fall and fall and fall, it will become obvious that we're going to have to take a stand at the end. Because this system, left to its own devices, is going to kill half of us before 2050.
Yep.
That's what I said. Half of us will be gone by 2050. We're going to be a multicultural country where you and I and our skin colour will be not the majority. Will be all skin colours. If you want a picture of the future, just go to London today. That's the picture of the future that's coming for everybody. In the cities. Out in the sticks. Congratulations if you can afford to still live there. Because you won't be able to soon.
No.
You definitely won't be able to. Because unless you're working for one of the big agri companies, you won't be able to sell your stuff.
No.
Because your stuff won't pass their tests.
No.
They'll keep making regulations until you can't actually grow anything. Unless they decide that you can grow anything because you're growing their stuff. You'll buy their seed, you'll use their pesticides, you use their methods, and they'll pay you. You won't decide how much the price is. They'll pay you for what you've done.
Yeah.
And it'll be just enough. Just enough. So you can do it again next year. Just like the dairy farmers. The dairy farmers have got the illusion of owning the farm, owning the cows, owning the machinery. And they've got one customer. And that customer decides exactly
how much
what they'll spend and what they'll get paid. Well, that's not going to change. This game of monopoly capitalism, which completed its cycle of owning everything it needed a long time ago, is now exerting the power on the people. Big business runs the world, and if we could see the globe in 100 years' time, the countries will be gone, and they'll be replaced by big business names. They'll decide what the country's called.
Who can lobby the most? Which I'm going down to London in a few weeks, and I'm going to go into the lobby of Westminster and have a look round. I'll let you know what I find out.
Shouting and bawling doesn't impress anybody. Moaning and groaning doesn't work.
No.
We're here now. And a major step down has been taken this year from where we were in 2013.
Yep.
Eventually the roller coaster will set off on its final journey, its final circuit. And we'll know when it's set off, because the internet will change. The internet will change, and we won't be allowed to do what we're doing now.
No.
Will we keep doing it? Of course we bloody will.
Yes.
Of course we bloody will. We'll find a way.
We'll keep copying right.
Exactly. We'll find a way. We will find a way, that's for sure. That's why I'm sort of... We've excluded the clips a little bit this week, because if they can find something wrong with what we're doing, using them clips will be part of it.
It will, yes. Yeah.
We already get warnings that we're using copyrighted material, but we don't get anything else. It's okay. We're not getting into trouble so far. There are plenty of allegations we could follow up. There are plenty of claims we could make. And there's many things we could study so we knew every single detail. But that doesn't actually work for most people. What works is knowing that you're going to have to do something at one point. And if you're arguing, you're losing. The way to win an argument is to ask the questions.
Yes.
The way to lose it is to answer them.
them.
Good luck to everybody. This has been Tuesday the 30th of September 2014. My name's Paul.
Mine was Andy.
And it's been the Unpenned Show. contact us on the Facebook underneath this YouTube video if you feel you need to.
Thanks for your comments and thanks for listening.
That's all we can ask for.
Yeah.
Bye for now.
Cheers.